Hi everybody, this is part 3 of my testimony, and there will be many parts of this testimony. To keep you on track with where we were, I was speaking about childhood and bringing up that I was brought into the faith through my family, my parents, and baptized, confirmed, and was brought to church regularly. I mentioned in my last few videos about recognizing my sin, or at least my rebellion, now that I look back at around age 12. And that's when I recognized that I was rebelling. I guess I could feel my sin in a way. That's something I just recognized recently as I had been under some teaching, and that it got explained to me through the book of Romans a little bit better. I did mention some supernatural that I experienced as a child and had explained this to my parents, and waking them up in the middle of the night and talking about it to them. But I didn't want you to follow me for the wrong reasons, and that would be not wise. It's something I don't try to talk about much, and it isn't really a big part of my testimony, but it was something that showed me that there was, that I did believe at a young age in the possibility of angels and the devil. And that was a good thing. So I did want to share with you from John chapter 6, where tons of people followed Jesus because of the miracles he performed. And everybody deserted him at the end of his ministry as he's crucified. So people do follow Jesus just for miracles or for charismatic feelings, but they will fall away if that's why they follow him. I don't want you to follow me for the wrong reason, because I will talk about sin and repentance in my journey and a changed life, and very uncomfortable things that happen when you're saved. Otherwise, you're not saved if you're not kind of going through the washing machine or the oven, as they say, cooking. You're a cake not done yet. You're still in process when you're being sanctified. So in John 6, it's in the New Testament, John chapter 6, it starts at verse 2, and it says, a huge crowd was following Jesus because they saw the signs that he was performing by healing the sick. And you see the word huge crowds. That doesn't really correlate with how you know whether you're Christian or not, that Jesus was killed and murdered unfairly on a cross alone. Even his disciples abandoned him. So huge crowds following him, it says right there, because they saw the signs he was performing by healing the sick. So just wanted to mention that. Don't follow me because of that statement last time. Like I said, it pointed me towards there was more than just a book called the Bible or religious rituals, liturgy, hymns, what have you. And in verse 66 in chapter 6 of John, it does state, once Jesus said that no one can come to the Father except through me, and that the Father has granted it to him who will follow Jesus. That verse 66 says, from that time on, many of his disciples even turned back and no longer walked with him. So Jesus had many disciples, not just the inner circle of them. So again, my testimony back to my childhood included early rebellion around the age 12, 13, 14 of rebelling against my parents, stealing their alcohol and my mom's cigarettes, a little fooling around with the boys, and none of this my mom and dad would have approved of. A lot of people would have never known what I was doing because probably because I could hide it really well. And what this ended up doing, this early alcohol abuse, which abusing alcohol became a pattern for me, especially by the age of 16, 17, 18. And after I received some counseling, by about the age of 2021, I realized that I was putting myself at risk for alcoholism. But I was in denial for a long time, and it was just not the norm not to drink from any circles that I had ever been in. And so yes, early rebellion. And I do want to also make the point that a testimony of someone like me or somebody that may have other outrageous sins, you know, something that you may just find crazy, you know, pedophile or rob banks, drugs, whatever you consider to be crazier than you, don't let that be your measuring stick, because any sin compared to Jesus, who never sinned, disqualifies any of us from heaven or a relationship with him. I know testimonies of people that were simply religious like me. Their testimonies are just as powerful as mine. And I would really say my testimony is more powerful because of the religion that I was released from, not so much alcohol and sexual sin that I was released from. And so next time I chat with you, I'm going to go back just a little bit into my teenage years and early adult and explain further how I was struggling. So I'm just glad to meet with you again today, and God be with you and for a changed life for you as well.